Ow. Let's try that again. It's holiday season, it's ham season. What do you think, I'm gonna go buy ham? I'm gonna make it. A bunch of you guys have asked for a holiday ham, and you might have thought, oh, well, maybe he'll get like buy ham and then dress it up. No. We're gonna cure it, and you'll see what it looks like. Okay. The point is, we're doing this completely from scratch, just how I like it. So if you want to have a dope ham, I would get on it soon because this takes a couple of days. Anyway, with that said, let's make this, shall we?
Right, so technically you could use lots of different cuts of pork, but I would recommend using specifically a fresh pork leg, skin on, and debone. Potentially a pork shoulder would work too. I basically cut it so it would be a uniform piece, and then all the scrap meat just cook off in a soup or something. Now, curing meat is no joke. You need to be using a scale for this, please. So first things first, you're gonna wanna weigh your pork. So the formula works like this. For every 1,000 grams of pork, you're gonna need 30 grams of salt, 15 grams of sugar, and 2.5 grams of curing salt, aka Prague powder number 1, pink salt. Do me a favor, don't sub pink Himalayan salt because it's not the same thing unless you want botulism. Thank you. If you had a 4,000 gram piece of pork, it would be 120 grams of sea salt, 60 grams of sugar, and 10 grams of curing salt. See where I'm going here? Scale the recipe to the weight of your pork. Spicing this is completely up to you and it depends on the person, but I use some coriander, pink peppercorn, fennel seeds, and some dried herbs and just ground that up. Again, up to you, but my proportions will be in the description below. Anyway, mix that together until completely combined. Now sprinkle that cure all over your entire piece of pork. The skin, the flesh, really rub it in there. Make sure to get it in every single crevice. Don't miss anything. The majority of the salt should stick, but there always will be a little bit that doesn't, and that's okay. Whatever doesn't stick is totally fine. Now, once you got your meat all rubbed down, you're gonna take pieces of kitchen twine and then tie it off at 4 to 5 different intervals, evenly spread across so that it's nice and evenly shaped. Tie it tight. Don't be scared. It's like a little BDSM loaf. You're gonna place it in a plastic bag and set it in the fridge from anywhere between 5 to 8 days. Basically a day for every 3/4 of an inch in thickness. Now, the first thing you'll notice while it's curing is that a lot of liquid is going to release in the bag. That's totally normal, and you want that to happen. That's going to kind of make a brine for it a little bit. Now, once it's near the end of its curing, you'll notice that it's going to sort of start to firm up a little bit, and that's perfect. Once it's reached the end of its cure, it'll be nice and sort of firm to the touch. Not super firm, but it'll have like a resistance to it. Then you're just going to take off that kitchen twine, rinse off the cure. That's right, rinse it off, rinse it all off, then pat it dry. Set it back up with kitchen twine, and then place it on a baking sheet with a wire rack set over it just so that there's airflow around it, and set it back in your fridge for 24 hours just to sort of dry the exterior. Now, this is an important step. You really want to make sure you dry it. Don't even ask. It's forming something called a pellicle, which is super important not only for smoking, but just cured meats in general. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Pellicle? Pellicle? We always run into these pronunciation issues, don't we? After the drying, set up a smoker with your choice of wood. I used a mix of oak and applewood, and you're gonna smoke this thick boy at 250 degrees Fahrenheit for about 2 hours, or until the internal temperature reads between 135 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Now look, if you don't have a smoker, then you can absolutely just do this in the oven, don't worry, but you might not get as much of a cured look, but still tasty, just keep that in mind. Anyway, once you reach that temperature mark, take the pork out, and now it's time to glaze. Personally, I like to finish this glazing portion in the oven, but you can also do it in your smoker. Just set the heat level at about 300 degrees Fahrenheit. To make the glaze, you're going to need half a cup or 112 grams of Dijon mustard, half a cup or 120 grams of packed dark brown sugar, a 1/4 cup or 85 grams of honey, and then optionally you can add some seasonings. I added 1 teaspoon or 2 grams of garlic powder and 1 teaspoon or 2 grams of my homemade serrano powder. Actually, both of them are homemade, and I do have a video for that. Link is in the description. Mix that together thoroughly until nice and homogenized. Now, before we glaze, if your pork still has the skin on, it should peel off relatively easily as long as you're peeling it off while it's hot. If you need to use a sharp knife, just use a sharp knife to help peel it off. Once you get it peeled off, lightly score the fat cap. Now, to do that, you're just gonna gently caress the tip of your knife across the hot fat cap. You don't wanna go all the way through to the meat. Brush it generously with your glaze and place it in your 300-degree heat source, whether it's the oven or the smoker. Let it continue cooking for 15 minutes. Glaze it again, let it roast for another 15 minutes, and then glaze it one more time and roast it for one more set of 15 minutes, which will equate to 3 total coats of glaze. And by the end of it, your pork should come out at an internal temperature of 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if you're gonna eat that right now, you absolutely can. Just make sure that you let it rest for about 20 minutes, or you can let it cool down completely, chill it, and then whenever you're ready for Christmas or whatever, you can just reheat it. It's as simple as that. It actually reheats really, really, really well. Just reheat it in a low oven until nice and hot, and serve with your Christmas meal and have festive, awesome times while you flex on everybody with your homemade ham. You know, what's better than that? Oh yeah, you wanna know what else is better than that? B-roll.
that is it. So, now we gotta wait for the police. I'm an asshole, okay. I gotta say, there's been a lot of great stuff in the Reddit recently. If you guys aren't on my subreddit, you gotta check it out. The link is in the description. I appreciate you guys posting this stuff. Who knows, maybe I'll start doing a Reddit review kind of video. You know, something like that. Maybe like a PewDiePie style. With all that said, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.